My name is E.G. Crichton. I'm recording this from my home in San Francisco, California. But the scene that you see behind me it's a view of the room as it looked the week of November 1st, 2015, when an exhibition called Archivi Migranti, Surrogates from Elsewhere, took over the space. I was in Bologna for my first time for the Gender Bender Festival at the invitation of Casero. The show was a collaboration between all of us. My first introduction to Casero was when I met Sarah De Giovanni in 2012 at a conference focused on queer archive work in Amsterdam. I had invited people from archive organizations all over the world to select two of their queer archives that could serve as what I thought of as delegates to this conference. I saw it as a way to bring queer individuals from our recent and not so recent past to the gathering, and a way for participating organizations to meet each other. I hung images and descriptions that had been sent to me ahead of time in a gallery, and conference attendees could wander through and get acquainted with what each archive collected. Casero was one of the first archives to respond to my request, choosing the archives of Antonio Frenier and Stefano Casagrande as their delegates. Sarah sent me a rich selection of images and text from these two archives that I could then design into a banner, and in this way introduce Antonio and Stefano along with Casero in this international context. For me, it was a really great way to meet not only other archive nerds who do the work of preserving queer history, but also some of the dead individuals whose lives live on through this work. 3 years later, Sarah and Casero invited me to be a visiting artist at the Gender Bender Festival and to create an exhibition. With no hesitation at all, I was thrilled. I began outreach to the international archive institutions that I had previously gotten to know. I wanted to find a way for them to participate in this amazing festival too. The archives I contacted were as varied as the National Archives in London, a small lesbian archive called Libris in Budapest, Gala in Johannesburg, Alga in Melbourne. These are all acronyms. And a restaurant and history museum in Quezon City, Philippines, called Adarna. With each liaison, we brainstormed what could become a gift from their archive to Casero, a way for them to metaphorically visit Bologna in November 2015. Behind me, in this background, you can see some of the gifts I fabricated based on these conversations. The transparent banner that you see here honors a body map that was made by a Nigerian transgender immigrant to South Africa named Azu Adugo. I'm gonna move a little. The oversized t-shirt that you see further back is printed with images from the Libris archive in Budapest. The feathered hat on the pedestal is based on a painting of the Chevalier Dion, who was a person of undetermined gender for most of their life, who lived in the late 18th and early 19th centuries. Visitors could look, read, watch, and listen as they wandered through these recreated multimedia archives. Casero helped me put together a display for Antonio and Stefano, and Sarah brilliantly translated everything into Italian. And together we created 5 colorful banners, like the blue one you see on the right, that contained fictional dialogue between people who never actually met in either time or space, all based on their actual words found in each archive. In this way, 13 archives migrated from their geographical origins to become guests of Casero and Mambo. My idea was to put materials precious to each collection in motion as they became guest archives, sometimes crossing national borders more easily than we can. For people whose traces are so often erased, even by our biological families, omitted from official histories, or just plain lost, archives are a way of creating our own lineages. Working with Casero on this project was really one of the high points of my art career. The enthusiasm on the part of visitors to Mambo, the long hours that volunteers put in to help me create the show, and the opportunity to meet so many interesting, generous people, as well as the chance to attend the Gender Bender Festival, was really unlike anything I had ever experienced in my own country. It was invigorating to be around people who totally got the ways art and archives and history and a museum can work together. People who engaged me in countless thought-provoking conversations in English, never once complaining about my total ignorance of Italian. And I was astonished that within the medieval building that houses Casero, I could browse archives and I shared my work at one point. I could eat a meal, but just downstairs in the cavernous dungeon with strobe lights, I could dance all night. I am so grateful to Casero for hosting me, to Sarah for helping me in all aspects of my visit back then, and to Mambo for graciously allowing Archivi Migranti to take over this meeting space. Ciao.